Good morning, or maybe evening, afternoon, for those of you tuning in for another episode of the Visto Show. It is February the 12th, 2021, and I'm happy to be joined by our guest, Sushil. Sushil, thank you very much for coming on the Visto Show today.
Hi, Josh. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Sushil, it's great to have you on. I'm really excited. We have a few things we were talking about off air. What I want to talk about is maybe before I tell everybody what we'll be talking about, can you give everybody just a quick background about yourself and what you're working on these days?
Well, I'm Sushil Nagar. I'm from India. I came to Canada about 10 years ago as an international student in British Columbia and just fell in love with this place and immigrated here. Um, and I am helping immigrants like mine, like me, who come to Canada and who want to make Canada their place. So I'm an immigration consultant by profession now. And it's a wonderful profession to be in. And I get to meet immigrants not only from India, but all over the place. And most of them share the same journey as me. So it's really fulfilling and amazing profession to be in. And Canada is so open to immigrants and their policies. And unlike any other country, Canada, I would say, is heaven for immigrants. So really excited for the times to come and what's going on right now.
Absolutely. And one of the many reasons I wanted to bring you on is because I talk to a lot of, our Visto users, prospective immigrants, or even people who've already immigrated to Canada who then have that same thought and say, I want to start helping others through my journey. How do I become a consultant? Stuff like that. And I can't really speak to that. And so I figured, let's have somebody on. You've been through the immigration journey yourself, and now you've kind of switched to the other side, which is an immigration professional helping others do the same. So I want to talk about all of that. For those of you tuning in live, feel free to throw any questions for Sushil in the chat as well, and we will also have the recordings of this video stay up on our YouTube and Facebook as well. So Sushil, let's start from the beginning. You're back in India 10, maybe 10 and a half, 11 years ago. I don't know how long you kind of thought about coming to Canada as an international student. But let's go back to that point in time. What was that decision-making process like when you were thinking about leaving India for school? Were you considering other countries? What was the process like going through the research and actually the study permit process?
Well, before coming to Canada, to be honest, didn't have much plans of going abroad. First time when I left India was in Germany, and that was a really nice experience. And I realized how amazing the world is, how big the world is, and how little I've seen and experienced. So I wanted to do it more after coming back from there in 2009. And then I decided that, okay, I don't want to learn a language like Swedish language or German language or Danish language, because those were the countries which were very immigrant friendly, and the tuition fees was next to nothing over there. So I didn't want to do that. So I was researching for English speaking countries because it's a little easier for people like us who have studied English in school, and maybe no, we are not that efficient, but it's something to be worked upon, right? You are at 80% or 70% efficiency level, rather than learning a language like German or French, where you are basically zero.
Mm-hmm.
Then the first place which came to my mind was United Kingdom, because of our history with the country and colonization and everything. United Kingdom at that point of time in 2010 had a very negative publicity going on in the world, because there were problems with international students not getting work permit, not getting experience over there, and immigration basically shut down. So my intention was not to move there permanently. However, it was in my mind that if I'm paying in pounds or dollars, which is far more expensive as compared to Indian currency, I'm paying like 4 or 5 times more than local students over there. I should get some benefit of at least working over there for 2, 3 years and get an experience. So that wasn't possible in England and United Kingdom at that point of time. And then I had several offers, and just didn't feel right because of all the negative stories and the current rules, and immigration was just, the government wasn't immigration friendly at all. Then I started researching about United States. In United States, the fees was very high. So I'm talking about 2010,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing less than 70, $80,000
Oh,
in US dollars.
jeez.
That was like, no, I don't have that much money. I come from a middle class family, and yeah, that's just not possible. And then again, the option was Australia, because I'm a big Australian cricket team fan and watch a lot of sports over there. So I had a little bit of knowledge over there. Australia was also not, even though at that point of time it was very immigration friendly. However, there were a lot of racist attacks going on Indian students at that point of time. It was a huge, huge scandal. Every second day, you will hear that some Indian student is getting beaten up, or there is some tension going on. So there was this perception that Australia overall is a nice country. However, Australians are not that nice to immigrants.
Right.
And I remember there were one very popular Indian movie which was released just before I came to Canada in 2010, where they actually show the journey of the student who goes to Australia and face
Oh, wow.
racist attacks and all that. Then at last, came Canada in my mind. Like, okay, what is this country next to United States? It looks very cold, and seems like we had this perception that there are a lot of Punjabis in Canada. It's like mini Punjab. And then I decided to research on Canada, and it looked more and more like United States, but cheaper and more friendlier. And the more research I did back in 2010, the more convinced I got that this is the place to be. It's next to United States. We are almost in the center of the world, and it's English speaking country, and it's not as expensive as United States. So that's how I came to the conclusion that Canada is a place to be.
Wow. It's funny to hear because sometimes I talk to people and Canada was top of the list, and I speak to someone like you, and it sounds like you went through almost every other popular option for international students first before coming to Canada. Do you have any advice? Maybe there's somebody, back home in India or any country around the world right now, and they're, considering going somewhere as an international student. Any advice for them on how to approach it, or why they might want to consider Canada, and what your experience was like here as an international student?
Well, so as I said, I did all my research, and I would always encourage everyone to do their own research. At that time in 2010, there were not many YouTube channels. There were not, because now you can actually see the journey of a lot of people, like how you are educating people. And I also make sometimes video once in a while, not particularly about immigration, but about certain things in Canada which I'm going through, or which might help new people.
Mm-hmm.
So the first and foremost thing is that if you want to come here permanently, or if you just want to explore it for 2 3 years. If you want to just do it for a couple of years, just education, and then come back to your country, then I would say just go for the top university. Go for whatever university is in line with your um, work. Or if you're a computer engineer, then go for the best computer program. If you are a researcher, or in chemistry or physics, go for that. Whatever university is giving you the best scholarship and opportunity. However, if you want to settle permanently, then no country come close to Canada. Like, that's just the truth. I'm not saying that because I'm in this profession. Nothing comes close, because in Canada, uh, the government is taking in almost 350,000 to 400,000 people every year. And my journey as an international student, it was so smooth. It was so easy. I landed up in Kamloops, British Columbia, which is interior of British Columbia. I did not want to live in a big city, because I come from national capital region around Delhi, and it's so much pollution, so much population, and it's so much crowd, that I wanted something totally different. And Kamloops fulfilled my expectations totally. It was a nice town, not too small. 100,000 people, I would say it's not small according to Canadian standards,
Hmm.
and so rich in natural beauty. Lots of lakes, a lot of mountains. You can do skiing and snowboarding in winters, and you can do a lot of summer activities, hiking, and even in smaller cities in Canada, you find a lot of diversity, which is very rare to find in any other country. So we had people from Russia, from Africa, from China, from Saudi Arabia, a lot of Indian students, even some Australian students, Scandinavian students. So it was an amazing experience. Uh, Doing study here, you get 3 years open work permit, and then there's so many programs, be it provincial nominee program where you get immigration through a province when they nominate you, or direct express entry as well. So
Hmm.
a lot of programs you don't have to worry about, how am I going to immigrate, and even if you get married, you have a spouse, or you want to bring in your family, Canada is the place to be. In US, I've heard some horror stories where people find jobs, or they get admission to universities, but they cannot bring their spouse.
Right.
Canada is not like that. So it's I think nothing come close
Yeah.
as far as the country concerned.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every application you can think of, as you mentioned, you can include family. By family we mean spouse and kids, and the pathway that they make for you to get from international student to PR, through the post grad work permit to all these different PR options is great. We do have a quick question here from Obenson, who says hello. Hey, Obenson, thanks for tuning in. He wants to know the possibilities for people passionate about law. So, Sushil, could you maybe speak for a minute or two about if someone was looking to come into Canada and maybe study law or consider the profession? I mean, I can as well talk uh, more from being in the legal profession per se, but maybe from a study permit as well perspective. Any suggestions there?
I would say Canada doesn't differentiate in terms of getting study permit, whether you want to study law or whether you want to study sciences or whether you want to study arts. You the process of applying for study permit is pretty much the same. You you should have you know good enough academics to get into that school. You should have good IELTS score to get into that school, and if you fulfill the requirements, whatever checklist university has for international students. So, for example, in case of law, I know that you need to be a graduate from your country, and if you have decent education, you have decent IELTS score, and you get into that university, it's pretty much the same process. You need to pay the fees for 1 year, and you need to have your IELTS score, academics, letter of acceptance, and if your program is for 4 years, you get 4 years study permit. Even if you get 2 years, it's very easy to extend it. So I know a lot of students who initially they want to study 4 year program, but they switch to 2 year diploma, or
Yeah.
someone who is coming for 2 year diploma, but then decide to do not only bachelor's but masters, and then other research. So in that regard, it's very easy to apply for study permit, and if you want to switch back or extend your permit, it's very easy. It's pretty much simple for whether it's science or commerce. And when it comes to law, I think you are better person to answer this question.
Well, yeah, I mean, you covered the basics, Sushil, which is like applying for the study permit itself. Like you said, it's pretty uniform across the board. If you want to, Benson, become a lawyer, then you will also have to pass the bar of the specific province that you want to move to. So, Ontario bar is a little bit different from the BC bar, from the Alberta bar, et cetera, et cetera. So you might want to look at that and just think a little bit extra about which province you want to go to school in because of how that relates to actually joining the bar afterwards. But it's a great question. So, Sushil, when you finished your studies and you were going to start your career in Canada, what was that like? Did you go right to the program for to become an immigration consultant? Did you start in something else? Be interested to hear kind of how you settled on that career path.
Well, to become an immigration consultant, you need to be a permanent resident first. So I couldn't do that. It wasn't even in my mind. You don't even have permanent residency for yourself. How can you help other people, right? You need to be capable and go through all this process first. So back in 2013, I graduated from Thompson Rivers University in Kamloops. And then the number one thing in mind for not only me, for all us international students who graduated with me was how to get permanent residency. So at that point of time, Express Entry did not launch. It was a paper application, whether it's through federal skilled worker category or PNP program. And it was very simple back then, even though it was very intimidating to do paper application. However, if you have right employer and education and postgraduate work permit, uh, there were lots of categories like semi-skilled. How we still have semi-skilled and international graduate. So I applied under international graduate stream, and I got my PNP within 5 months, and then it took me almost 1 year to got my permanent residency. My employer was very nice. They helped me because PNP programs are usually employer supported programs, and a lot of students I know they struggle because the employers, even though they give them hours and work and pay them nicely, however they don't sign recommendation letter. You need to have indefinite job offer form for PNP programs. They don't do that. So once I became PR, which was a long process, now it's really fast through Express Entry. But through PNP back in 2013-14, it took me almost 18 months to got my permanent residency. And once I got my PR, I just wanted to do something on my own. I tried other couple of business, didn't do much well. And then while doing that, I realized that I'm already helping people who are junior to me and about immigration, because once you have gone through that process, then other people in the community in the city, they know like, okay, you also got PR. Tell me, how did you do it?
Mm.
What consultants did you go to? Or, how did you find that information? Please help me with paperwork. So even before becoming immigration consultant, I would say many immigrants are already 30%, 20% immigration consultants because they have gone through this process.
Right.
So I finally decided to become immigration consultant. I joined Ashton College, which was pretty cool because it was online classes.
Oh, wow.
I took online classes for 6 to 8 months. You also need to go through IELTS exam again because yeah, so I had to do IELTS 3 times. One time as a student, and second time to become PR. Because it's so funny, Canada government thinks that people forget English after 2 years. You have to keep doing it. Your IELTS is only valid for 2 years. So now the bar for IELTS is very high. So to become immigration consultant, you need to get CLB 9, which is, I
Oh,
would
wow.
say, in simple IELTS term, it's 8777 in academic. So you need to get that in order to write the exam. And it's not that difficult, I would say. If you put in hard work and you are sincere, you can become immigration consultant. And right now, I think it's better or worse in how you want to look at it because now it's a 2 year program through Queen's University. So it's
Hmm.
not 6 months or 8 months program anymore. So now it's more rigorous because the guidelines and the the point to entry is very high now. So I think IRCC wants quality immigration consultants who are really knowledgeable and passionate about what they do. So
Right.
instead of 6 months now, it will take you 2 years
Right.
to study.
Do you think that's a good change?
I would say yes. I would say yes because I would say that would attract quality, not so much quantity
Mm-hmm.
into the business, into this practice, but definitely quality. If you study something for 2 years and you're sincere and your communication skills are up to the mark, then I would say you will be able to do your practice better as well.
Absolutely. Great. So, Sushil, let's spend a few minutes talking about immigration right now. I mean, it's been a heck of a year for a wide variety of reasons, right? But it's taken IRCC has taken us for a roller coaster, understandably because of all the changes. What are you seeing on the ground when you're dealing with clients, just day to day or over the last few months? What are you seeing from your experience? A lot more confusion, a lot of delays. What's it been like, let's say, over the last 6 months with your practice?
Yeah, I would actually go back and start from March, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's when the pandemic started in Canada and we had lockdowns. I would say what we are seeing right now is bureaucracy at its worst for everyone. Initially, I remember with Express Entry, it used to take 6 months for people to get PR, and for some students who were applying through Canadian Experience class, who had postgrad permit, some of them even got PR in 2.5 months, 3 months. That was the norm.
Mm-hmm.
However, now a lot of my clients, I think almost every client of mine who applied back in 2020 haven't gone their PR. So it shows that 100% application is complete and they are all hopeful and everything. Nothing is being done. It shows that they are working on it, and no matter how many inquiries you put in IRCC web forms or call center agent, it's same standard answer that due to COVID we are working in reduced capacity, and your application is in process, but we cannot tell you when you will get PR or when you will get your permit. So it's really frustrating. People are getting draws. So, for example, if you have a good enough score, you will get an invitation. You can submit your documents and they will start processing your application. If your work permit is expiring, you are already in Canada. I have seen they are getting permits. It's taking time, 3.5, 4 months, but
Mm-hmm.
they are getting approval as far as permits are concerned inside Canada.
Mm-hmm.
However, in outside Canada, it is really frustrating.
Yeah.
So for clients of mine who applied back in March, April, they are still in process. It usually doesn't take that long. Either
Mm-hmm.
you get approval or you get refusal. Usually you get the answer within 2 to 3 months. However, now it's really frustrating for a lot of people. So every client of mine who is outside Canada is under process, whether it's a temporary foreign work permit or spousal permit or uh, PR, permanent residency. The good thing is that PNP is working right now. So for clients who are getting their nomination through PNP, so they are getting 600 points. They are getting invitation to apply for express entry.
Mm-hmm.
So the process is moving. It's not moving very fast. And I guess Canada also doesn't want a lot of people to come in right now. So that's why they are making it harder. So I would say, except students, it's very difficult for anyone to come to Canada.
Right.
Uh, your application is getting processed, and hopefully you will come in 2021 or 22. That would happen for sure because Canada hasn't shown any intention to shut down immigration at all. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think everybody needs to be patient. It's no one's
Absolutely.
fault.
Yeah, that's the key word, patience. And you were kind of taking me to my second last question, which is for those who are outside Canada right now, considering coming here, whether it be study permit, going through express entry, looking into PNPs, what advice do you have for them? Should they put their plans on hold because of these delays? Should they wait? What are your thoughts with regards to that?
I would say for if you want to immigrate to Canada, then it is actually for some people better time to come to Canada because in some provinces they have removed a lot of job occupations, especially in hospitality sector. So if you are in hospitality sector, then bad luck. However, if you are not from hospitality sector, you are in other profession, then it's easier for you to get those nomination in those PNPs. So one mistake which people do is, they want to come to Canada, they are doing all the research, they don't write IELTS exam, and I tell them that this is the number one thing which you need to do. You need to have your IELTS exam. It's not that expensive. It's pretty much $300 all across the globe, and you want to invest so much in your future, write an IELTS exam, see where you stand at, whether you want to come as a study permit
Hmm.
or on express entry. If you are at 6, 7, then you know where you stand. Then give it again, give it again. Even if you do, I know so many people who have done it 8 to 10 times, and
Jeez.
it's worth it, right? When you are passionate about, your career, your family, you want to move to a better place, or for some people, best place in the world, then please invest in your future. Prepare for IELTS. That's number one thing, be it a study permit or express entry.
Hmm.
And then you will know where you stand, because with express entry you will know where how many points I have, which province I might immigrate to. What Because I cannot assess you if you come for an advice, immigration advice. I don't know where you stand at. You don't have
Hmm.
IELTS score. Work experience, it's easy to measure because it's going to be pretty much standard everywhere. And as far as student is concerned, if you have a study and you want to, because not many colleges are doing online classes. So if you are doing something practical and you want in-class experience, then maybe, be patient.
Hmm.
Apply in fall session in 21 or next year, and just monitor the news carefully. However, if
Hmm.
you are studying something which can be taught through online, like how we are talking right now, then it doesn't matter, because Canada is accepting students right now. And
Hmm.
in some provinces like British Columbia, I know because I live here, things are not that bad. Students are still taking classes online. You can go to grocery store, you can go to restaurants, all the hiking park or skiing places. Everything is open with social distancing, so things aren't as bad uh, if you are in British Columbia, especially. So,
Yeah, if you're
sorry,
in
that's not
Ontario,
the
it's a
case.
slightly
Ontario.
different story.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So number one thing is, make a plan, have your IELTS score ready. And for some students, especially from North India, Punjab region, I've seen they make a mistake that they come to Canada right after high school. And it is very difficult to get your permanent residency if you have only high school and 2 year diploma in Canada.
hmm.
Even though you will get 3 years work permit, it is not enough. So if you are, for example, doing a trades program or a caregiver program or something related to specific skill, then it's fine, because you will get you can get into federal skilled trade program. That's easier. The scores are lower. However, if you are doing a business program or something like that, or arts program, you should have bachelor's degree, because that would make your life way easier. If
Hmm.
you come here right after high school, the way the point system work in express entry and PNP program, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying it's going to be very difficult for you if you don't have bachelor's degree from back home.
Got it. That's really good advice. We do have a quick question here as well. Varun says, "Hi, Josh and Sushil. How much time does it take to process the express entry profile this time of the year?" So we kind of just touched on it. Varun, I mean, yeah, I spoke to a client the other day. They've been waiting 11 months. Is it fair to say, Sushil, on your end, like what are you seeing maybe as like an average timeline for express entry this year?
I would say it's going to drop now. It's going to reduce. So I think we have the worst is past
Hmm.
us. It's not going to be as bad as it was in the last 7, 8 months. However, no one can tell. Even if you call a call center in Canada for immigration, or you put an inquiry, you have to be patient. I don't think it will take less than 7, 8 months for sure. However, I don't think it's going to be. It's just a gut feeling, right? I
Hmm.
could be wrong, and it also depends on client to client. For some clients, the application is pretty simple. Immigration Canada doesn't have to do a lot of due diligence and checking, background checks for them, so their file is processed faster. For some people, it's more difficult. I know in some countries, it's difficult to get your police clearance, and if you
Hmm.
have lived in a lot of countries, then they need to do background checks in those countries and check your PCCs and everything. And if you have multiple work experience in multiple countries, that also they need to check and everything. So it depends on that. I think those things does make it more longer for you to wait. However, No one can tell, but I seriously think that it's going to reduce. It's not going to be as bad as it
Yeah.
was in 2020.
Especially as the vaccines continue to hopefully roll out and things go back to normal, we would all hope that processing will come down as well. Awesome. Well, this has been great, Sushil. Thank you very much for coming on the show. If people want to get in touch with you or learn more about your services, any URLs or websites or places you recommend they go?
Yeah, my our website is consultingapt.com. We have a Facebook page as well. We have Instagram page as well. People can also search me, Sushil Nagar. I have Instagram page and LinkedIn page, and I make some videos on YouTube every now and then to help international students and immigrants to Canada. So yeah, people can reach me over there.
Awesome. Thanks again, Sushil. Really appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you're welcome, Josh.
All
Bye.
right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. That's it for the show today. Have a great weekend, and we will see you in the next one.